Officer Bradley stood outside the gas station, his sunglasses hiding the sharp glint in his eyes as he scanned the parking lot. His shift had been long and dull, and now he was itching for a reason to flex his authority. That's when he spotted her, a young black girl, maybe 17 or 18, walking toward the entrance with a phone in her hand and a gym bag slung over her shoulder. She looked calm, focused, like someone who didn't have a care in the world. That irritated Bradley. He stepped forward, placing himself in her path. "Hey, you, stop right there," he barked. The girl looked up, confused. "Is something wrong, officer?" He didn't like her tone. Too composed, too self-assured. "You match the description of someone we're looking for. Hands on the hood, now." She looked around, clearly startled. "I'm just going into the store. I haven't done anything." Bradley's jaw tightened. He grabbed her arm roughly. "Did I stutter?" She flinched. "Please don't touch me. That hurts." A few people in the lot started turning to watch, phones rising, recording. But Bradley wasn't thinking about optics. He wasn't thinking at all. He twisted her arm behind her back, ignoring her screams. "Stop resisting. I'm not. You're hurting me." With a sharp jerk, he forced her to the ground. A sickening pop echoed, followed by her scream of pure agony. "What the hell is wrong with you?" a bystander yelled. Bradley turned, eyes blazing, ready to bark them down too. But before he could, a calm, commanding voice cut through the chaos. "Get your hands off my daughter." Everyone froze. Even Bradley looked up in stunned confusion. A tall man in a baseball cap and sunglasses stepped forward, his face partially shadowed, but unmistakable. It was Denzel Washington. The girl, crumpled and sobbing on the ground, whimpered, "Dad." Bradley's color drained from his face. The phones were still recording. The crowd was dead silent. Denzel knelt by his daughter, his voice low but furious as he glared up at the officer. "You just broke her arm." Bradley stumbled backward, suddenly aware of everything he'd ignored. The girl's calm, her words, the gathering crowd, the cameras. His badge suddenly felt very, very heavy. The ambulance arrived minutes later, sirens blaring as paramedics rushed to tend to the girl. She was trembling, tears streaking her cheeks, cradling her broken arm. Denzel stayed by her side, holding her uninjured hand gently, whispering to her as the EMTs examined the injury. His face was carved from stone, but his eyes burned with restrained fury. The officer who had attacked her, Bradley, stood awkwardly off to the side, sweating beneath his uniform. His radio crackled at his shoulder, but he didn't answer it. He didn't know what to say. The gravity of what he'd done was only now beginning to settle in. This wasn't just some random girl. This was Denzel Washington's daughter. But even more than that, she was just a kid. And he had attacked her like a threat, like a criminal, with zero cause. A female officer arrived on scene moments later, a supervisor by the look of her stripes. She approached Bradley with narrowed eyes. What the hell happened here? Bradley tried to compose himself. She matched a description. I thought she was. You thought wrong, the woman snapped. We have witnesses, and video. You assaulted an unarmed teenage girl who posed no threat. And you did it on camera. Her arm is broken. Do you have any idea what you've done? Denzel stood then, calm but firm. My daughter's name is Olivia Washington. She's a student. She plays varsity tennis. She's never been in trouble a day in her life. Your officer threw her to the ground, broke her arm, and screamed at her like she was some kind of animal. For what? Walking into a store while black. The crowd murmured in agreement, many nodding, some continuing to record. Bradley stammered. I didn't know. You didn't care to know, Denzel interrupted coldly. You didn't ask. You saw her skin, made up your mind, and attacked. The supervisor turned to another officer. Take his badge and weapon. He's on immediate suspension pending investigation. The moment the badge came off, Bradley's shoulders sagged. He looked lost, no longer the confident man barking orders a few minutes ago. Now, he was just another man exposed for his prejudice and cruelty. As Olivia was loaded into the ambulance, Denzel followed, giving one last look to the officer who had hurt his child. It wasn't a look of vengeance, it was one of disappointment. One that said, you should have been better. News vans were already pulling up by the time they drove off. Social media was ablaze. The hashtags were trending. Hashtag justice for Olivia, hashtag Denzel Washington daughter, hashtag racist cop exposed. Later that evening, the video hit national headlines. Olivia's face, bruised but brave, appeared on every screen in America. Denzel released a statement urging calm but demanding accountability, not just for his daughter, but for every child who'd been hurt by unchecked power. Bradley was charged with excessive force and assault. Internal Affairs opened a full investigation into his conduct. But the real punishment came from the court of public opinion. No amount of excuses could erase the image of him slamming a harmless girl to the ground. No amount of regret could undo what was already done. Olivia, despite the pain and trauma, stood strong. In an interview weeks later, cast still on her arm, she looked into the camera and said, "What happened to me wasn't new. But what happened next? People caring, speaking up, that's what gives me hope." And in that moment, her voice was louder than her father's fame. She wasn't just Denzel Washington's daughter. She was a symbol, a reminder, and she wasn't backing down.